Hello friends, and welcome back to another video. The nature of YouTube is that if you've clicked on this video, you probably already know what pure Flix is. Christian Netflix, Christian family-friendly, good holy content for the whole family. I do want to say the point of this video is by no means to make fun of all Christians or to make fun of Christianity. Christians who are welcome to laugh along with this, because honestly some of the most scathing critiques of pure Flix that I have read have come from Christians. I was reading the pure Flix Wikipedia page to try and just get some background, see if I could come across anything interesting for this video. A Christian journalist criticized pure Flix for being intellectually unstimulating and reinforcing their audience's prejudices instead of exercising and challenging the imagination of their audience in ways that could make their audience better Christians. Another journalist said that pure Flix works to confirm the hypothesis that American Christianity must be artless and unrefined, which is just scalding. Pure Flix as like an overall streaming service has a lot of different family-friendly movies. They have quite a few that are labeled modified for family viewing. They have a lot of super old public domain movies on there. Like, as a streaming service, there's a variety of content. However, when people are criticizing, like, pure Flix movies, they're usually talking about the production studio. The streaming service Pure Flix was recently acquired by Sony, so the production company that used to it's kind of like Netflix Originals. Like, there was Pure Flix Originals. So the production company is still its own thing, and they changed their name, and the Pure Flix, the streaming service, is owned by Sony. Anyway, I, like many other YouTubers who have reviewed pure Flix content, am interested in the Pure Flix Originals, the David White specials. David White is the pure Flix guy. He is the founder of the streaming service, as well as the production company behind it, as well as the star of many, many, many of their films and TV shows. He is the guy. These movies are made by, starring, and honestly, probably the target audience is also just David White. But before we get into it, I have to tell you a little bit about this video's sponsor, Audible. I like to read a lot, but I will be the first to admit that it can be very, very difficult to find time, and I found that listening to audiobooks is such a great way to keep up with books while also commuting, doing mundane tasks around your house, whatever it is. And whatever it is that you're into, Audible's gonna have something for you. Lately, I've been getting into the Murderbot Diaries series by Martha Wells. Audible has all of them if you want to check it out. And the holiday season is upon us, my friends. Can you see my festive pinecone earrings? This is the time to get yourself or your loved one an Audible membership. They have a special offer on right now for 60% off your first 3 months. No matter where you're going or what you're doing this holiday season, you'll always have the perfect thing to listen to right at your fingertips. Maybe you've got some long car or plane rides ahead of you, or just lots of time off work or school to get cozy with an audiobook. Right now, for a limited time, you'll save 60% on your first 3 months of Audible. That's only $5.95 a month, so go to audible.com/strangeons or text strangeons to 500-500 to check it out. And now back to your regularly scheduled content. So it's been years of people requesting me to look at pure Flix. The trend is probably over, but you know what? I'm getting in on it. I got my pure Flix account, my 1 week free trial. The pure Flix was my oyster. I could watch anything that I wanted. I was thinking maybe do like a little Christmas special, like look at some of their Christmas content. I'm sorry, Christmas. We kept like clicking on movies and then watching like 10 minutes and then getting painfully bored, and we just kept jumping around. So I decided to go to the Pure Flix Originals category for that hot David White content. What would I choose? God's Not Dead 3, perhaps? That recently came out and they're promoting the heck out of it. Malibu Dan, I've heard terrible things about that one. No. I decided to settle on the 2013 action thriller trilogy, Revelation Road. Apocalypse movie based on the Book of Revelation. Honestly, sounds incredibly cool. As we know, the Book of Revelation is the coolest, edgiest, littest book of the Bible. So this should be a great film.
The end of the age. Some men fear it as a time of destruction, while others welcome it as the ushering in of grace.
This movie was about 1 hour and 20 minutes long, but feels like 4 hours. The first characters that we meet are this biker gang. They've got a really big hammer, which we later find out is this guy's very special, custom-made special boy big hammer. They use it to smash people's skulls in, I believe is what's implied. It's obviously off camera because this is a family-friendly, good Christian violence-free movie. Next we meet our protagonist. It's David White. His wife, she wants him to come home. And he's like, wife, you want me to come home to my house where you are, my wife? And she's like, yes, baby, I want you to come home. And he's like, you want me to come home? wife. It is completely unclear whether he's just like at work for the day or if he's on a longer business trip or if he just like left for 20 minutes to buy milk. I have no idea what the geographical space between these two people is supposed to be. Like, it could be a 5-minute drive or like 300 miles. It's never made clear. Like, the entire time they're going, ah, wife, come home. Ah, it's never made, where are these people? It is highly disorienting.
Josh, what's going on?
Josh, what happened? Josh?
Hey, babe, just a second.
Josh, what was that? Josh, what's going on? Is everything okay?
Just a second, hon.
Josh, what happened? What's going on? Josh, are you okay?
Also, yes, like 50% of the lines spoken by women in this movie are just yelling their husband's name, which is very effective at making me hate this man's wife. Like, I hate this man's wife. I hate this man's wife as much as he would if he were a boomer comedian.
Just a second, hon.
The movie also never tells you what exactly his job is.
Mister, you're a fine salesman.
The description of the movie on Flix says salesman, but the only thing we see him selling is a bulletproof vest. He walks into a store and is trying to sell the store owner his bulletproof vests. So, door-to-door bulletproof vest salesman? That's what the context clues are telling me this man does for a living. So the store owner that he's pitching his bulletproof vests to today has some interesting bargaining tactics.
What would you put your trust in to save your family? This vest or God? Don't answer yet. I gotta go hit the head. Just think about it. Here. Have some jerky. I made it myself. It's good. It's good.
Jesus Guy's sassy granddaughter is also there. And then the biker gang that we saw at the beginning of the movie rolls up to rob the store and kill everyone. How could they ever possibly get out of this situation? David White has a That's So Raven moment. The exposure gets all fucked up and suddenly he's got super murder powers. The effects in this scene, like the gunshots and even just like the quality of like the fight choreography, I feel like I'm watching like a 2010 like YouTube sketch. Like, this movie has the same budget as a Smosh video from 10 years ago. I will say, it features a lot of guns for a movie on a streaming service, and in fact produced by the production company attached to the streaming service that prides itself in being violence-free and family-friendly, although it is very sanitized. You don't see any blood or violent, gory deaths or anything. It's very much just, gun go pew pew. And it does make a big deal over the fact that the protagonist kills people with guns. I'm not the biggest connoisseur of the brain-dead action movie genre, but gratuitous fight scenes and lots of guns seems to be kind of like the genre norm, right? The acknowledgement that killing bad and should take a toll on a normal, healthy person is not common, right? David White, protagonist, clearly has some top secret backstory going on. All of the cop characters keep trying to bro him up, like, yeah, buddy, you know, I know how it is, you know, what war did you get traumatized in? But I got traumatized in the war and it made me a masculine, Jesus-loving man. But every single time, he acts like Edward Cullen, having just gotten a real good sniff of Bella, just like, I can't. He eventually reveals his backstory to his wife off camera. We don't get to know David White's top secret murder backstory yet. Speaking of his wife, his actual real-life wife, who also plays a role in a lot of Pure Flix movies. She plays one of the bikers who looks like some of her facial expressions are just very Rosa Diaz to me. Like, she looks like knockoff Rosa Diaz cosplaying Ebony Darkness Dementia Ravenway. That's what this character is to me. She's one of the evil bikers, but she harbors secret dreams of being nice to people, I guess. The implication is that the leader of the bikers is like her abusive father or uncle or older ex, or holding someone that she loves captive to manipulate her. It's extremely unclear what this man's relation to her is. In the meantime, war trauma over the barbecue. He fights a random homeless couple in his motel because they asked him for money, but then he gives them money as payment for teaching him a moral lesson, which was that he's a bad person. I have no fucking idea what to make of this scene. Special Big Hammer Boy shows up at the motel and hits on him with some quarters at the vending machine. But David White is like, I think you're a big meanie, actually, and I love Jesus instead. This only serves to make biker guy like even hornier for him, and he's like, finally a worthy opponent. The bikers attack the Jesus guy store owner's family, but Ebony Darkness lets the kid go because she's secretly nice, remember? Don't worry about the grandparents though. Hammer guy is about to give him a good bonk, but then the rapture happens. This causes some strife within the biker gang because some of them are like, bro, the rapture just happened. Shouldn't we have like bigger concerns right now? And the leader is like, no, fuck you. I have no idea what you're talking about. They're just hiding from us really well. And the others are like, sir, we saw them turn into orbs. And he's like, no, they're just really good at hide and seek. Meanwhile, the granddaughter meets Jesus. The bikers are driving around looking for her and they drive right by her, but they can't see her because she's invisible now because of Jesus. I will say one genuine positive that I will put down in the pros column for these movies is that the character of the granddaughter, I think she's probably supposed to be around like 15-ish, and her character very much feels like a kid in a way that is refreshing in the age of sexy teens played by 25-year-olds. Like her boundaries with the adult characters are very apparent, and even her kind of idolization of David White's character after he saves her is very much played like a childish hero worship kind of thing. Meanwhile, with David White, everyone is like, holy shit, the rapture and apocalypse are occurring, and decide this is a great opportunity to skip out on some motel payments. So the owner, about to be cheated out of a lot of money, decides to pull a gun on all of his guests and send them to bad, unraptured Steelers timeouts in their rooms. To be continued. Revelation Road 2. Second movie opens on the sheriff's family. He was kind of a minor guy who showed up a few times in the first movie, but we're opening with his family. His sister lives with them, and she's like giving his wife unsolicited cooking advice and shading her placemats. I'm thinking this character is supposed to be annoying. Then they all roll her eyes at her saying grace, and she straight up gets raptured from the dinner table. So what is the portrayal of this character? Was she doing her Christian duty by calling out how inadequate another woman's placemats were? Was she flexing that she was the better trad wife? She's in like 30 seconds of the movie and I need to get over it. Okay, so in other news, it's been like 12 hours and society is falling to shambles. There's no power, so the motel owner is just kind of keeping everyone who doesn't have cash hostage because I guess all the credit card machines would be down, so he's just keeping them hostage until the power comes back at some indeterminate time, which is a little bit extreme. Like, it's the apocalypse, buddy boy, and David White seems to have the same position, except he phrases it as like, you are a bad, greedy man, and you should go home and be with your family in these trying times. Back to the bikers. I know they're supposed to be evil or whatever, but these guys really, really know how to accessorize. 7 years earlier, we see that the lead biker guy was actually a nice boy who was in love with this Jesus woman. And Ebony Darkness is watching them from a few meters away, like behind her bike. So at this point, I'm assuming that like that's her sister and like that's how she's connected to this man. It turns out that I'm wrong about everything and that these two are just straight up supposed to be her parents, even though these women are the same age. I'm thinking back and like, my one theory was that, like, he was holding someone she loved captive, because there was this line in the first movie that was, like, where she's like, why can't you just let her go? And this movie just does not know how to make anything clear. Well, maybe that one was a little bit of a stretch on my part, but it was, like, my genuine first reaction. So it turns out there's a snitch in the gang, and one day the mom overhears him doing his snitch deeds, and he shoots her, and she dies. And that's how the dad biker becomes evil. Immediately after she dies, he runs outside and forges his big special boy hammer. The way they edit this montage makes it look like he just kind of creates this thing from thin air in like 20 minutes while she stares at him the whole time. He's hammering things and he's holding it up, and then there's this exact same clip of her, and then he just holds it up again and it looks like he's done like hours of work, and then it goes back to the exact same clip of her, and it's like, I hate this movie. David White escapes the motel with this random lady whose husband got raptured. She's kind of bonkers. It's just kind of a thing with these movies. Like, he's obligated to have a woman in his passenger seat either being in distress or talking about Jesus, or both at all times. In other backstory news, we get a lot of clips in this movie of the government doing cartoonish mad science experiments to David White's brain to turn him into a fearless, emotionless super assassin. We see him kick some ass in this generic Middle Eastern coded country, which also looks a lot like Arizona, where the Flix production company is based. That's crazy. So anyway, David White goes to the sheriff and they're all like, yeah, how about that rapture? That's pretty whack. He swaps out one female supporting character rambling about Jesus in his passenger seat for another. Remember, the granddaughter actually she just met Jesus, her good pal, in the last movie. So she's like super enlightened now. They shoot some guns and stuff because it's the apocalypse, and this is a cool apocalypse action movie, and David White is a very cool man. Bikers are still set on getting revenge on David White for thwarting their robbery in the first movie. Their new plan is to get Ebony Darkness to walk down the street and look all helpless and limp or something, so then David White will pull over to help her, and then the rest of the bikers can ambush them. Great plan. Okay, good plan. Great plan, guys. The granddaughter obviously recognizes her from that time, like, literally yesterday when she showed up to murder her family. But Ebony hears the voice of God speaking to her in her mind, and she decides that she wants to be good, and she wants to be a good Christian and help David White now. So she dives into the back of their car through the window, and then the dad jumps out to shoot David White. He shoots through the windshield, and the granddaughter jumps in front of David White because she's wearing the bulletproof vest, so everything's fine, right? Haha, just kidding, the bullet goes through and kills her, because only Jesus can save you from bullets.
S can't save you, Josh. Only God can save you.
David White and the biker dad have an epic final battle. They drive at each other a bunch. It's obviously an impossible standoff, and they have to get out of their vehicles to fist fight each other. And they end up defeating him by yelling at him about Jesus and how Jesus loves him and he can still repent and go be with his wife in heaven if Jesus. So that's the end of that. Everybody's BFFs now. David White goes home to his wife. Again, they don't really explain how much geographical distance he's passed or how much time has passed. He just goes home. And she's been raptured. So what is the third movie? Because most of the conflicts set up by the first movie have been resolved by the end of the second movie. So what is the third one about? Just he has to get Christian enough to get into heaven now? Revelation Road 3. This movie's quite a curveball. It takes place 2 years later and introduces an entirely new cast of characters, such as, hello, wee, hi Noodle. Whole new cast of characters that we have never seen before this time around. We got teenage girl that he has to protect. We got woman in abusive situation, whomst he saves and teaches about Jesus. Her abuser, this random man whose relation to her is not made clear, and who is also the main antagonist of the movie. This will be set up by opening the movie by showing him brutally murdering someone. So we're doing this again, huh? There is one shocking glow-up from a returning character in this movie. It's the car. This thing's windshield? Astounding. And David White is in this Mad Max car chase to save this teenage girl who we have not seen before. While we were watching this, Kristen was like, is that the same girl from the last movie? And I was like, no, she died. And she was like, oh, that's right.
Only God can save you.
Anyway, she gets stabbed. So he has to go to this gated community that, like, somewhat has their shit together and seems to have set up a government. Remember, it's 2 years after the apocalypse. So he shows up there to get her some medical help, and they're like, sir, go away. We don't care about dying children. This one woman from the gated community jumps out and is like, I care about dying children. Every woman in these movies is either like this paragon of feminine morality or just like a damsel for David White to save. There is very much like consistently this idea that like women are somehow more pure and exist to keep men good. They get this girl to the gated community doctors and they're like, cool, infected stab wound to the abdomen. She's gonna die. Also, they have to take off her cross because you can't bring that kind of stuff here. It might offend people. You better watch your back. Also in weirdly convenient news, our only surgeon was this woman's mom, but she recently ran away to join this Jesus commune in the desert run by some random guy called the Shepherd. That's kind of wacky, huh? We know that bad guy is also trying to track down the Shepherd because these people are paying him to. I don't know who they are, but they have a plane, so they must be legit. They're just... Who are they? Where are they from? What do they want? I don't know, but they got off a plane. Bad guy also really wants David White's sick-ass Mad Max car, so he kidnaps him and puts him in this awkward limp-wristed crucifixion, only to be like, LOL, sorry about that. Actually, you can totally just go free if you track down the Shepherd for me. So he's gonna do that now, I guess. Female sidekick is obligatory. So she hides in the trunk of his car to escape bad guy and also to go find her mom on the Shepherd commune. This movie is actually unironically really great. If you're into David White in bondage, he gets kidnapped again for his sick-ass Mad Max car. This thing really seems like it's more of a burden than a help sometimes. It's real scary guys. They're gonna scrape some rusty knives at him and tell him they're gonna sell his meat on the black market, etc. He escapes and they have this big showdown. David White he's a good boy now. He's a better boy than he was before, so he doesn't use guns or kill people anymore. But don't worry, that is substituted with an absolutely bonkers suit of plot armor. The amount of time someone straight up has a gun pointed at him and just doesn't feel like shooting. We're 30 minutes into this movie and this man should be dead like 50 times over. Woman sidekick is hiding from the gunfight in this cabin and she comes across this completely perfectly intact and not even moldy 2-year-old uneaten food. Also, there's this creepy grandma ghost who calls her an idiot for not knowing Bible quotes and then disappears. Her whole thing as a character is like she was never raised religious, but you know, the rapture happened. So now she needs Daddy David White to teach her about the Bible and save her from the bad man. It's a completely novel character arc that we have never seen anything like before. The writers are absolutely capable of writing more than one woman. I have no idea what you're accusing them of right now. Turns out Rusty Knife Guy already sold the Mad Max car while he was chained up for a minute, so subplot about getting his car back from this really extra Australian guy named Honcho. Honcho was like, listen, David White, listen here. You see, I'm a businessman. I will give you your sick-ass Mad Max car back if you enter into this apocalypse gladiator fight thing on my behalf. Everyone's got like these big scarves and beaten up jackets and fingerless gloves. Isn't our 2013 apocalypse movie just so cool and aesthetic and badass? Yes, Pure Flix. It's very good. David White beats everyone except for this last guy who appears to be made of literal solid concrete and is also called the Beast because, haha, the Book of Revelations. He can't beat him, so they just run away and jump in his car and drive off. Like that was an option the whole time? Honcho's people are in hot pursuit of them, but suddenly they drive by as if they can't see them, as if they've become invisible, or where have we seen this before? I'm thinking Jesus is about to pop out from behind a desert shrub, but he doesn't. It's actually this guy. This guy's the shepherd. He's a prophet who has healing powers.
Just have a feeling of what I'm supposed to do, and I do it. And I had this sudden urge to walk out onto the highway.
Because you should always trust those.
And there I found Brother Joshua.
And that's how he scoops people up to bring them back to his utopian fruit commune. But wait just a second. Woman character's mom isn't at the commune? So they've been tricked. Bad guy only said the mom was there so that he could trick them into going, because David White wants to find the mom because she's the only surgeon so that she can save that one teenage girl, and then woman character wants to find the mom because she's her mom. So bad guy tricked them into going to the shepherd commune because they thought the mom was there. So now bad guy can go show up and kidnap the shepherd and give them to the plain people who we don't know who they are. What is this? What is this media that I'm consuming? Bad guy immediately shows up and does some pillaging and kidnapping. David White straight up gets shot and dies. Finally, some fucking realism in my apocalypse rapture movie. It's okay though, Jesus shows up and now he's unshot because remember kids, only Jesus can protect you from bullets. Meanwhile, the shepherd is taken back to the gated community and now he's the one in the weird limp-wristed crucifixion. But don't worry, David White is coming to the rescue. He has to sneak in so he takes out all the guards, but Christianly, until bad guy shows up to join the fight and just straight up starts launching rockets at him. I would make the joke that they spent their entire budget on this scene, but honestly it still looks terrible. David White takes a little nap, but don't worry, he gets up just in time to stop bad guy from putting the shepherd on the plane. Also, David White uses guns again now, LOL, and so does woman character, but I guess it's fine to shoot people in the legs. Some people deserve to be shot in the legs? Is that okay? This dude really desperately needs saving, apparently. Like, just kick him and run, you limp noodle. Don't just stand there like, oh, okay, I guess I'm kidnapped. I'm the shepherd. Or, I don't know, like, use your telepathic powers that you fucking apparently have because you use them like 2 seconds later on the plane people? What is this? Despite this being extremely anticlimactic, all of the antagonists just leave. The shepherd has healing powers, so of course he must be able to also heal the stab wound girl, but he can't, and she dies anyway. But that's fine because Jesus. Woman character gives David White a chaste kiss on the cheek. They hold hands with their fingerless gloves. You know, Pure Flix did flag this movie as containing some light sex, so I guess this is what they were talking about. Sluts. But he finds an old pal waiting for him by his car. Are they finally gonna hook up this time? It's Biker Dad from the first 2 movies. The plot thickens, and then they never made a 4th one. My question is, how many movies were they going to make? How long were they going to drag this out? How many adventures was post-apocalyptic David White going to have? Because I'm gonna be real with you, I would have watched all of them. Honestly, I still like the idea of an apocalypse movie based on the Book of Revelations. These movies were bad for many reasons, but I think the basic concept, in the hands of a good writer actually interested in engaging with complex moral and theological questions, could make something unironically worth watching. Whatever. Watching these movies has made me a small but measurable amount worse. Just worse in life in general. I feel worse. I will be keeping my Pure Flix account for just a little bit longer because I have become hooked on the hit reality TV show Ultimate Cowboy Showdown. If you think Drag Race queens are dramatic, you need to see 2 adult men fist fight over taking the Lord's name in vain.
I mean, a man put himself and call himself a cowboy and ain't got no manners.
And then one of them being taken away in an ambulance with 2 broken bones over a completely unrelated bullfighting incident. This very well might deserve its own video at some point. Thank you so much for watching this video, my friends. I do live Q&As every single Wednesday in my Patreon Discord server. You can support me over there for just $2 a month and get access. And I will see you in another video very soon.